Welcome back for another Wellness Wednesday. Whitney here, just getting ready to go for a run this morning, even though it's still really cold outside. And I was doing some foam rolling like I normally do, and I thought, why don't I tell people about foam rolling? I love it. I do it almost every single day, especially before I exercise, or sometimes when I'm just feeling kind of tired, or I've got some aches or pains or tight muscles. I use it a lot. A lot of people probably already know about it, but for those of you that don't, I'd want to share it with you. Foam rolling is basically myofascial release, and it's something that you're doing by yourself, so it would be called like self-myofascial release. Okay, so you might be asking, Whitney, what is fascia? Or maybe you've heard of it and you're not exactly sure. Well, fascia, or fascial in myofascial release, is Latin for band. And what this is it's a band or a sheet of connective tissue that's primarily made up of collagen, and it's beneath your skin. And what it does is it attaches, it stabilizes, it encloses, and it also separates your muscles from your other internal organs. So basically, it's kind of like a little protective layer of tissue. And what can happen is that fascia can get really tight or really adhesive. It's kind of sticky, and it can adhere to itself and make something that doesn't necessarily feel so comfortable. So what a lot of people do is they try and kind of massage it out. Foam rolling is a great way to do some kind of self-massage or self-body work in order to really loosen up that fascia so that your muscles can be contracting and relaxing the way that they are designed to do. So I like to do it before I go running, or if I'm just feeling kind of sore, or if I wake up kind of stiff. It's a great way to just do a little body work, a little self-massage, and get going. So what I want to do today is share with you guys some of my favorite foam rolling techniques, areas that I like to work on. I don't know how to not say that so awkwardly, but let's just get started. So the first place I always start is my IT band, because on me it's typically the most painful. I should have warned you guys that foam rolling isn't exactly the most comfortable, enjoyable thing all the time, especially if you are a little bit extra sore. It can be kind of uncomfortable, but I like to get the worst out of the way first so that we can move on to the more enjoyable areas. So I like to start with my IT band. If for whatever reason holding yourself up on your own hand is too much on your wrists, you can always go down to your elbow. So you can accomplish the same thing by being on your elbow as you would on your hand. Now, there really isn't a way to kind of screw up foam rolling. That's the beauty of it. And what works for you is going to be different than from what works for me. I just wanted to give you some ideas of maybe what to try. Foam rolling is something that is going to be different for everyone, and the more intensity that you get out of it has to do with how much body weight you put on the actual roll. So by being up on your hands, you've got a little bit more gravity versus being on your elbow, but you can still accomplish the same results. You might just have to maneuver around a little bit different. And what we're going for is to find the places that kind of make you go, ooh, that doesn't feel so great. And what we want to do is we don't want to spend any more than 2 minutes on any one area, or we can create some extra fatigue in our muscles that we don't really want to. And we also want to make sure that we are rolling above and below the area that is our concern. And the reason for that is when you break up that myofascial tissue, we're not really breaking anything, we're just kind of separating those sticky fibers that I talked about earlier. When you break that up, that's going to disperse further into the fascia. And if above and below it is the next tightest area, guess what? You just took one sore spot and made two. So let's try and avoid that and make sure that we're rubbing or rolling above and below the area that is bothering us. let's get started. Like I said, IT band. This one's super simple. All you're gonna do is essentially you're just gonna lay on your side. The foam roller is gonna be rubbing from the base of your knee up above your kind of hip bone, because we want to make sure that we're getting the whole band. And a lot of times when I'm doing this, I'll switch from being up on my hand to down on my elbow. 8 years of gymnastics, I do kind of have weaker wrists, but you want to make sure that we're getting all the way up, all the way down. You kind of have to maneuver yourself. I like to put my leg in front, that way I can get all over. And you'll notice that throughout this, I'm going to roll forward and backwards. That's because I want to make sure that I'm getting the whole width of the IT band along my leg. And we're just going to go back and forth. Normally, mine really bothers me up close to my hip and down by my knee. Now, when you're here like this, you can move this foam roller. I promise. It'll make things a lot easier. So I like to slide it down by my knee. Now I'm going to take my foot and just kind of hold it up, get it out of the way. Sometimes I just like to rest it on the roller if it's getting a little tough. Now, the one thing I didn't think about is that I'm on a hardwood floor. There's a rug right in front of me, but I am on a hardwood floor. I would suggest doing this maybe somewhere a little bit more comfortable. Now, let's just pretend that I already did the other leg, and we're gonna move on to our glutes and our hamstrings. These are big ticket items when it comes to our legs, so a lot of times they need a little bit more attention. But now that we got the IT band out of the way, it wasn't as painful today as I thought it was going to be. We're gonna work on our glutes. Super simple. Just sit on the foam roller. Just sit down. Let me back up so you can see me. Perfect. And then I like to put my hands behind me so I don't fall over. Don't be too afraid to go up into that, what would be deemed maybe as your lower back. Your glute muscles go up that high. So you want to roll back and forth. With this one, what you can do is you can kind of shift your weight from one side of your leg to the other side of your leg. And what this does, like we talked about earlier, is it's going to create more pressure because you're applying more body weight. You can just sit here just like this, roll back and forth. This works that fascia along your muscles. And it's super simple. We're just sitting here, hanging out, but we're also doing some body work and some myofascial release. So, why don't we move down to our hamstrings? Your hamstrings, you can either do both legs at the same time or just one leg at a time. Doesn't matter. I like to do one leg because then I'm applying more pressure with more gravity. We're going to hold ourselves up. On this one, if holding yourself up is too difficult, just leave your leg on top and roll side to side. That's going to be enough pressure to work out the fascia on the back of your hamstrings. I like to take it a step further and put my whole body weight on my hamstring, and we're just going to roll back and forth. Super simple. We can switch sides, make sure we get both legs. Again, we don't want to spend more than 2 minutes on any one area, and we want to make sure that we're rolling above and below the area that might be bothering us the most. Now from here, I like to take it to my calves. We're already going to be in the same position. We're just going to lower the foam roller down a little bit. Same concept. If holding yourself up is too much, you can get a lot accomplished by simply rolling your leg back and forth across the foam roller. I like to take it a step further. Sometimes my calves are really short, so they get tight super easily. So I just come up on my hands, can either roll back and forth, that creates a lot more pressure, or we're gonna actually roll with the foam roller. You kind of have to get a little creative with this one. Trust me, I fall over all the time, lose my balance. It's not a big deal. So we can switch to the other side. We can keep rolling back and forth, lifting ourselves up off. You'll notice I shift my body weight from one side to the other side to make sure that I'm getting the whole calf. Or we're gonna come right down here and we're just gonna roll side to side. Try and relax your leg. Maybe move the foam roller up a little bit to the bigger part of your calf. That's where the main muscle portion of your calf is. Super simple. Next, I like to foam roll my back, specifically my upper back, with the running and moving of my arms, I try not to be so hunched over, so foam rolling really allows me to open up my chest and hold my shoulders back. This one, again, is pretty simple. Key to this one, give yourself a hug. When we're rolling, try to keep your arms crossed. That way we're stretching these muscles open so that when we're rolling them, we're rolling the fascia in its most extended position. I'll show you what it looks like. We're just gonna give ourselves a hug, try and stay nice and rounded, and we're gonna roll out. See, told you, I fall all the time. We're gonna roll out and back. I like to stay rounded versus arching, because when I arch, my shoulder blades just dig into the foam roller and it's not very comfortable. So I like to stay nice and rounded, going back and forth. You kind of feel like you're doing a crunch. Same on this one. Go to one side, all the way back, and then to the other side. See? Pretty simple. The last one that I like to do is turn my foam roller so that it's the long way. And in order to kind of release the muscles in my chest so that I'm not rolling on them, because that to me just isn't very comfortable, I'm just gonna lay on here the long way. So my spine is gonna be from here down. And what I like to do is on the edge is where I like to rest my neck so that we're getting a little bit of pressure right at the base of my neck. So that provides me just an extra opportunity to release some muscles. So I'll show you what it looks like. We're just gonna lay here. Try and get this section right at the base of my head, palms up towards the ceiling, and just relax. For me, this is really, really tight right here, so I just hang out here for a little bit, trying to stretch my palms away from me before I let them drop, allows more of a stretch across my chest. So that's it. That's foam rolling in a nutshell. There's a ton of reasons why foam rolling is great. I could list an entire laundry list, but let's just start with keeping our muscles loose and keeping those maybe aches and pains at bay. Hope that was helpful for you guys, and I look forward to talking to you next week.